The enemy isn't out there, it's inside. It's your mindset. That's the hard truth most people avoid. They blame the world. They blame circumstances, systems, people, luck, timing. But what they refuse to confront is what really holds them back themselves. It's not the competition, it's not the economy, it's not your past. It's that voice inside your head telling you, you can't. That voice convincing you to hit snooze. That voice making excuses instead of progress. That is the real enemy, and it lives within you. Your mindset determines everything, your actions, your reactions, your choices, your standards. You could be the strongest, fastest, smartest person in the room, but if your mind is undisciplined, if your will is weak, none of it matters. You'll break under pressure, you'll fold when it counts, you'll quit before the fight even begins, and that's what separates the ones who want it from the ones who take it, the ones who conquer the enemy inside. The ones who take responsibility, not just for success, but for every failure, every weakness, every missed opportunity. They own it all, they don't run from it, they confront it, they go to war with it. Every single day, because the battlefield is not out there. It's not your boss, it's not society, it's not your family. The real war is in your own head. And until you take control of that battlefield, until you master your own mindset, you will keep losing. People think success is about strategy or motivation. It's not. It's about mental discipline. It's about knowing that the mind is a weapon, and either you sharpen it or it cuts you down. Every negative thought you let linger, every excuse you accept, every fear you feed, it strengthens the enemy within. But every time you push past comfort, every time you face what you fear, every time you take action despite doubt, you take ground back. You weaken that enemy, you reclaim your mind. The truth is harsh, but it's also freeing. Because if the enemy is inside, that means victory is in your hands. It means you're not helpless. You're not a victim. You're not stuck. You're just untrained, undisciplined, unfocused, and the good news is that can change if you want it bad enough, if you're willing to fight. So start training. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional. You need to be consistent. You need to stop pointing fingers and start doing the hard work, the real work of self-mastery, because when you win the battle inside, there's nothing outside that can stop you. Attitude is a weapon. Sharpen it every day. Most people underestimate the power of attitude. They treat it like a mood, like something that just happens to them. But attitude is not a feeling, it's a decision. A weapon, and just like any weapon, it has to be maintained, sharpened, and wielded with intent. When life hits, when plans fall apart, when chaos erupts, it's not your skills, not your talent, not your background that determines how you respond. It's your attitude. You can have all the tools, all the knowledge, all the resources in the world, but if your mindset is weak, if your attitude is negative, you won't execute. You'll crumble. You'll give in to fear. You'll wait for someone else to take the lead. But when your attitude is forged in discipline and resolve, you don't flinch. You adapt. You push forward. You carry the weight. You handle it no matter how hard it gets. Your attitude is the lens through which you see the world. A sharp lens sees opportunity where others see obstacles. A dull lens sees problems, excuses, and reasons to quit. That's the difference between people who make moves and people who sit on the sidelines. The battlefield of life doesn't care how you feel. It cares how you respond, and response is attitude in action. You don't sharpen your attitude once and forget it. You sharpen it daily. Every time you face discomfort and lean into it. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it. Every time you do what's right instead of what's easy. That's how the edge is formed. That's how mental toughness is built. Not in the spotlight, not when things are going smooth, but in the shadows, in the moments when it would be easy to quit, but you choose to stay locked in. People admire strength, but strength comes from pressure. It comes from choosing to sharpen your inner weapon, your attitude, instead of letting life dull it down. Complainers are dull, victims are dull, people who wait for motivation are dull. You want to lead, you want to win, then sharpen your mindset every damn day. That means holding the line when no one's watching. It means finding purpose in the pain. It means knowing that how you show up, even when it's hard, defines who you are. You don't rise by accident. You rise because you've been building the internal edge no one sees. Attitude isn't soft, It's steel, and every morning you either sharpen it or you let it rust. There is no in between. The choice is yours. Are you going to walk into the world with a weapon ready to strike? Or are you going to carry around a blade so dull it cuts nothing, not even your own excuses? You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your level of discipline. Everyone loves to talk about goals, big dreams, massive ambitions. They write them down, say them out loud, post them on social media, but they don't live them. Why? Because when reality hits, when things get hard, they don't rise to those goals. They fall straight down to the level of their discipline or the lack of it. Discipline is the foundation. It's the structure that supports the weight of your goals. Without it, goals are just words, empty, weak, and easily broken. You want to run a marathon, build a business, become a warrior in mind and body. That's great, but the question is not what you want. The question is what you're willing to sacrifice, sustain, and repeat. That's what discipline is. You don't suddenly rise to the occasion when life tests you. You fall back. You fall to the habits you've built, the routines you've honored, and the discipline you've maintained. If you haven't trained under pressure, you'll fold under pressure. If you haven't suffered in silence, you'll scream when things go wrong. If you haven't done the hard things when no one was watching, you'll choke when everyone is. That's why discipline is more valuable than motivation. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is fire. Discipline keeps you moving when motivation dies, and it always does. Discipline gets you up before the sun. Discipline shuts out distraction. Discipline tells you to keep showing up even when progress is invisible, even when it feels like nothing's working, because discipline knows something most people forget. Consistency wins. Repetition builds, effort compounds. You think champions rise because of some magical moment? No. They rise because they've earned the right to be there through years of controlled suffering, through thousands of hours of doing the reps, through brutal self-accountability. That's discipline, and that's what you fall to when it all gets real. So if you want to hit those goals, stop obsessing over the end result. Start mastering the grind. Build a system, train the body, train the mind. Keep your word to yourself even when no one else is watching. Especially then. That's when discipline is forged. That's when warriors are made. It's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless, about showing up every day with one mission: sharpen your edge. You don't need a new goal. You need more consistency. You don't need inspiration. You need execution. When it gets hard, and it will, remember this, you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your discipline, so raise your discipline, and everything else will follow. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. That's the brutal truth most people ignore. Leadership doesn't start with giving orders. It doesn't begin with titles, ranks, or authority. It starts with you, your habits, your example, your discipline. Before you can expect anyone to follow you, you have to be the kind of person worth following. And that begins with self-leadership. If you can't get out of bed on time, if you can't hold the line on your own goals, if you break your own promises, why should anyone trust you to lead them? Leadership is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself, your emotions, your actions, your mindset, because if you can't steer your own ship through the storm, you have no business trying to captain someone else's. Leadership is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing responsibility over comfort. It's staying calm when chaos breaks out. It's owning your mistakes, learning from them, and refusing to repeat them. You lead yourself first by setting the standard, then living it. Not once, not sometimes, every day. You want respect from others. Earn it by respecting yourself first. Show up early, be prepared, be sharp, be consistent. People don't follow words, they follow example. If you preach discipline but live with excuses, your team will see right through you. You can't fake leadership. You either live it or you don't. When you lead yourself well, everything else becomes clearer. Decision-making sharpens, communication strengthens, confidence builds, not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet, steady kind that comes from doing the work in silence and showing up battle, ready every single day. That kind of leadership is magnetic. It earns trust. It inspires action, not because you demand it, but because you demonstrate it. There will be times when pressure mounts, when things go wrong, when people panic. That's when real leadership shows up, not in the good times in the grind. And if you haven't trained yourself for the grind, you'll break under it. But if you've been leading yourself through pain, through fatigue, through setbacks, you'll lead others with clarity, focus, and strength. Because you've been there, you've lived it. Self-leadership means mastering your time, your words, your reactions. It means checking your ego, holding yourself accountable. It means looking in the mirror and being brutally honest. Are you living like the leader you expect others to be? Don't try to lead the world if your own house is in disorder. Don't tell others to be better if you're not chasing better yourself. Lead yourself, master yourself, earn the right to lead, because true leadership starts from within. And without that, everything else is just noise. You either own your life or life owns you. That's the line, that's the divide, and every single day you choose which side you stand on. Either you take full responsibility for your time, your actions, your outcomes, or you give that power away. You let the world, your past, your circumstances dictate who you become. That's the difference between living with intention and simply existing. Ownership is the foundation of freedom. It means you stop waiting. You stop blaming. You stop hoping someone else will fix it, because they won't. No one's coming. No one's going to build your body, your business, your mindset. That's your job. You either stand up and own it, or you surrender to the drift. The drift of distraction, the drift of weakness, the drift of mediocrity. Life is not fair, life is not easy, but that doesn't give you a pass, that gives you a challenge, the challenge to rise above, to adapt, to overcome. People who refuse ownership live in reaction mode. They react to stress, to failure, to other people's opinions, and they never gain ground, because they're always waiting for conditions to be right. For the perfect moment, but ownership doesn't wait, it acts. It builds, it corrects, it moves forward no matter what. Every excuse you make is a chain, and every time you shift the blame, you strengthen that chain. But when you say, "This is on me," something changes. That's where power lies, not in control over everything, but in control over yourself. Your effort, your response, your attitude, that's ownership. And that's where real strength begins. You don't need permission to take control of your life. You need discipline. You need accountability. You need to wake up and ask, what can I do right now to move forward? And then you do it. No debate, no delay, because when you own your life, you stop giving energy to things you can't control. You put it all into the things you can. People who own their lives don't play the victim. They take the hit, they learn the lesson, and they keep going. They don't need applause. They don't need comfort. They need progress. They don't look for shortcuts. They build strength the hard way through consistency, pain, and self-respect. Ownership is not a one-time decision. It's a lifestyle, a relentless pursuit of becoming better because you owe it to yourself, because life is short, and you're not going to waste it being passive, being weak, being average. You either own your life or life owns you. And if you let it own you, don't be surprised when you feel lost, stuck, or frustrated. But if you take full ownership, if you decide that everything in your life is your responsibility, that's when you start to rise. That's when you take control. That's when you finally start living. Focus isn't a feeling, it's a decision. That's a lesson many people never learn because they wait for motivation, for the right mood, for inspiration to hit. They think focus is something that just happens naturally when they're in the zone, but that's not how it works. Focus is not a feeling you stumble upon, it's a conscious choice you make, again and again, no matter how you feel. You want to get after your goals, then understand this. There will be days when you feel sharp and ready, but there will be plenty more when you don't. Days when fatigue drags you down, days when distractions scream for your attention, days when everything inside you says, "Not today." Focus isn't waiting for those good days. It's deciding to push through the bad ones. It's discipline showing up when motivation has packed its bags. Focus is about commitment to the process. It means locking out noise, the endless distractions, the doubts, the excuses, and zeroing in on the task at hand. It means telling your mind, "This is important, nothing else matters right now," and then backing that up with action. Even if your mind rebels, even if your body wants to quit, you choose to focus. That choice is what separates the winners from the quitters. The ones who get things done versus the ones who just dream about it. Because dreams don't work without focus. Goals don't get closer without focus, and success doesn't happen without focused effort consistently applied over time. Focus isn't glamorous, it's hard work. It's boring at times, it requires sacrifice. You have to cut out the distractions that don't serve you. Say no to comfort, say no to shortcuts, say no to the easy path, because focus is the grind, the repetitive actions. The small steps that build into massive results. Your brain craves comfort. It wants to wander. It wants to entertain every shiny thing. That's the battle you fight every day. Focus is your weapon in that fight. When your mind wants to drift, you pull it back. You force it back. You make the decision to bring your attention to what matters over and over, and it's not about perfection. You will lose focus sometimes. You will get distracted, but the difference is in how fast you recognize it and bring yourself back. The decision to refocus is just as important as the initial decision to focus. Remember, the world doesn't wait for you to feel ready. The clock keeps ticking, the opportunities keep moving. If you wait for a feeling, you'll be waiting forever. But if you decide right now to focus no matter what, you'll put yourself in the position to win. So don't wait for motivation to come knocking. Don't wait for your feelings to align. Decide to focus, decide to put in the work, decide to control your attention like a weapon, because focus isn't a feeling. It's a decision, and it's the most important decision you'll make every day. Blame is weakness. Responsibility is power. This is one of the most important truths you can accept if you want to take control of your life and achieve anything worthwhile. Blame is the easy way out. It's the path people take when they don't want to face their own shortcomings, their own mistakes, or their own failures. When something goes wrong, it's tempting to point fingers at the system, at others, at circumstances, because blaming someone else means you don't have to change. But that's weakness, that's surrender. Blame gives away your power. When you blame, you hand over control of your life to external forces. You say, "It's not my fault. I'm a victim." And victims don't win, victims wait, victims hope, victims complain. But they never take action because their energy is focused on excuses, not solutions. Responsibility, on the other hand, is the path of strength. Taking responsibility means owning everything in your life, the good and the bad. It means saying, "This is on me." It means no excuses, no deflections, no complaints. When you take responsibility, you reclaim control. You stop being a passenger in your life and become the driver. Power comes from responsibility because it forces you to act. It forces you to look in the mirror and confront the hard truths about yourself. It forces you to learn, to adapt, and to grow. When you accept responsibility, you start to see challenges as opportunities, failures as lessons, and setbacks as fuel to push harder. Leadership is built on responsibility. The best leaders don't blame their teams when things go wrong. They step up, they own the outcome, they fix what's broken, they set the example, and that example inspires others to take responsibility too. Responsibility is contagious. It builds trust, respect, and confidence. In your personal life, responsibility means controlling your habits, your emotions, and your decisions. It means showing up for yourself every day, even when it's tough. It means accepting that you're the only one accountable for your growth and success. Blame creates division and stagnation. Responsibility creates unity and progress. When you blame, you weaken yourself and those around you. When you take responsibility, you build strength in yourself and your community. This mindset shift is not easy. It requires humility and courage. It means admitting when you're wrong. It means owning your failures without shame. But that's where true power lies, in honest self-accountability. So next time you're tempted to blame someone or something, stop, take a breath, remind yourself that blame is weakness, responsibility is power. Choose to own your life, because the moment you do, you start to win. Your attitude is the foundation of your legacy. When people think about legacy, they often imagine big accomplishments, trophies, or titles. They picture wealth, fame, or recognition. But legacy isn't built on external things. It's built on the way you show up every single day. And at the core of that is your attitude, the mindset you carry, the energy you bring, and the example you set. Attitude is the invisible force that shapes your actions and decisions. It determines how you handle pressure, how you respond to failure, and how you treat others. It's the lens through which people remember you. You can have talent and skill, but without the right attitude, none of it lasts. Your attitude is what people feel when you leave the room. It's what stays behind long after you're gone. A positive, disciplined, and resilient attitude becomes the foundation upon which respect and influence are built. It's what inspires others to trust you and follow your lead. When you face adversity with strength and grace, people remember that. When you treat challenges as opportunities instead of obstacles, people notice. That's how you build a legacy worth leaving. Your attitude is also contagious. It affects everyone around you, your family, your team, your community. A good attitude lifts others up. It creates momentum. It breeds confidence and trust. Conversely, a negative or defeatist attitude can destroy relationships, stifle growth, and erode respect. The legacy you leave behind is not just your own story. It's the ripple effect of your mindset on others. Think about history's greatest leaders, warriors, and legends. Their lasting impact wasn't just their achievements, it was their attitude, their unwavering commitment, their relentless discipline, their refusal to quit in the face of impossible odds. Their attitude set a standard. It became the blueprint others wanted to follow. That means your legacy is not something distant or unattainable. It's built right now in the daily choices you make about how to show up. When you decide to lead with integrity, to push through discomfort, to hold yourself accountable, you're laying bricks for your legacy. When you choose positivity over defeat, action over excuses, ownership over blame, you're strengthening the foundation. Your attitude is the quiet power that carries through time. It's the story people tell about who you were, not just what you did. It's the impact you leave on hearts and minds long after your name is forgotten. And that's why guarding your attitude is one of the most important battles you'll fight. No matter what you achieve, if your attitude is broken, your legacy crumbles. But if your attitude is strong, if it's grounded in discipline, respect, and resilience, your legacy will stand tall. It will inspire generations. It will outlast any trophy or title. So protect your attitude, sharpen it every day. Know that how you think, how you act, and how you respond is the foundation of your legacy. And that legacy, it starts with you.